So this time we're going to be doing a lot of work under the van, mounting our grey waste tank and also connecting up all the other bits and pieces of plumbing we've got to go with it. So we've got our kitchen sink and we've got the shower, so they're obviously using water and draining, and then we've got our hot water tank which lives under there as well. So we've got three things which are draining at the moment straight down onto the ground. So what we're going to be doing now is getting that hooked up so that it can flow into the tank. And to do that we're using the 40mm domestic push fit waste pipe, which is just like the same stuff you have in a house, because that's really nice and large, so it should hopefully flow nice and quickly and take away all the wastewater. And then that's got to go into the tank, which is this one, and this is 45 litre tank, so fairly slimline because we wanted something that's not going to protrude lower than everything else under the van, and we've got to get that mounted up. And to do that we've got this universal mounting kit, tank mounting kit, and that's just like a flexible metal strap which we've got to get around the tank and then secure with these bolts under the van, and then a few other bits and pieces around it. So obviously we need to be able to drain the waste tank. Wouldn't be any good if it was going in there and just filling up. So we've got a campervan waste tap, so that's going to go on the side of the van somewhere. And then finally just a few extra bits of kit like a level sensor, so when this is filling up we won't have any idea from inside the van how full it's going to be. So what we thought we'd do is add a level sensor which should tell us on this cool little analog gauge we got how full it is, so then we know when we need to go and empty it. So we're going to put that in as well, and yeah, all the other bits we need to connect all together. So going to mean scrambling out under the van in the rain, because it's been raining on and off for the last few days, and I don't think Abby's looking forward to this one too much, are you?
Not particularly.
Right, so where do we actually start with this?
Don't really know.
I think the first step is probably figure out where the tank's actually going to go under the van.
Yeah, probably wise.
Take that and prop it up on some stuff, figure it out.
Right then.
We managed to lower our diesel tank on this. Should be fine for the little water tank, right?
You'd think so, yeah.
Is that about the right height?
I think so. Definitely not as low as, you know, the drive shaft or whatever, so...
Yeah, it's higher than the spare wheel, which is just behind it here.
Yeah. The only question is whether that's enough drop from the drains, you know, the decline or whatever it's called, to get into it.
That is true, and also to get the connector on.
Yeah.
Well, like Jenga, just try and take out one piece. Come on, there we go. Yeah, it's a little bit lower now, that looks pretty good. It's still higher than the spare wheel. Yeah.
So this is the strap that we've got to mount our tank under the van. As you can see, it's really flexible, but it's got steel on the inside and it's plastic coated on the outside. And apparently it can take up to 200 litres, so it should be fine. So that's what we're going to do. And the kit that it comes with is all this stuff here. And I think it's really designed for mounting through the floor. And you would just tighten a bolt from inside. But we're not going to do that because we just want to hang underneath, and we think our floor is a bit too thick to do that anyway. So what we've done is we've bought these hook bolts separately, and what we're going to do with those is take a piece of this strap and then fashion it into the sort of shape that we want to go around the tank. And then we're going to take one of these hook bolts and put a nut on the top there like that, and another washer. Then we can put it through this strap here like this, and then another washer, and then secure it with another nut. And then once that's together, that should be able to tighten against itself, and we can probably put some thread locker on there as well just to stop it from working loose. So I think that should be quite nice and strong, and we'll probably make maybe 3 of these to go down the tank, keep it nice and secure. So hopefully it should be alright.
Just got to figure out where to drill the holes now.
Yeah.
Or find the holes at least. Hopefully we don't have to drill any.
Hopefully, but you know we probably will, right?
So our tank actually fits really nicely in this little cavity here, which is pretty good. It's actually about the same length. But what's not so good is that all of the existing holes we can't really use. Really random placements actually, aren't they?
Yeah.
So that's the only one that we could possibly use, but it's a little bit too close to the middle. So what we're going to do is we've just marked up 3 holes, one there, and one there. And then on this rib on this side as well, which should be about the right width as well to hold in the tank nicely. Oh.
That might happen.
It's another drill bit gone. The drill only just fits in here.
That's lucky.
Very lucky. Yeah, that should be pretty good.
Yeah.
Just got to do a few more now. And it's freezing under here.
It's really cold.
I'm resting my arms, and Abby's taken over for a bit. And she's also barricaded herself in with bits of foam to try and stop the wind coming in. It's a little bit chilly, isn't it?
Very cold.
Woohoo! I am knackered now, but hopefully it's the last one. If it fits. Just
Good.
What a strapping tank you got there.
That's alright.
I can't even see what I'm doing.
Oh, nearly. Yeah, that's it. That's it, yeah, we're in.
Am I in?
Yeah. Okay, what do you want? What's the right? At the front. Ah, caught.
Oh, I'm getting mud all over me as well. Right, more to go.
There you go.
Nice. So we've done a bit of playing around, and it fits pretty nicely in this spot that we've got for it. The one thing we're obviously going to have to do is, at the moment, it swings quite a lot because it's not pressed up against the van chassis. So if you were bolting it straight to the floor, then obviously that wouldn't happen. But we need to have it lower than the van because our drains are right at the front. So in order to get enough gradient so that it drains all the way down to the back of the van, we obviously have to lower it down on this side. So what we're going to have to do is just put something across here to brace it so that we can butt it up against it basically. And the other thing we realise we've done is we put the strap here right in the middle, which we thought would be pretty good, makes sense, nice and even load distribution, but that actually completely covers up the access hatch underneath. So yeah, probably going to have to redo that one and move it along, which we just didn't think about.
No.
Whoops. Yeah. So we put a couple of bits of wood in there just to simulate what kind of thing we need to build, and yeah, that makes it nice and rigid. It's not bolted down completely yet. What we found is there's actually a threaded hole here, which is an M10 size, and now we can actually use that, which is quite good. It's nice to not be under the ram for a second. And then yeah, we've got this piece of unistrut which was left over from the roof, and then we've got this whole box of assorted random bits and pieces that we took out of the van right at the beginning. And yeah, turns out there was an M10 bolt in there that's used to hold in the little, what do you call those things? Loops. Loop tie down thingies. So we just borrowed one of those, and that fits perfectly in that threaded hole, and also fits really nicely into the unistrut, which is quite convenient. So we'll bolt 2 pieces underneath like that, and then the tank can press up against those. I think it'll work. So yeah, it uses up some of the bits we've had lying around, which is good. Looks like some kind of mangled robot accident under here.
It pretty much is.
Right, so it's a few days later because we've had a 3-day driving course we've just done to get our C1 driving test, which we both passed yesterday, so that's good. That means we can uprate the van a little bit if we want to, over 3.5 tons, which is pretty cool. And now we're back to scrambling under the van again. Yeah, so what do we do? So basically we made this little frame out of the scraps of unistrut we had, which actually worked out pretty good, just enough for that. So the 40mm waste pipe we got there is going to come in and has to obviously go into the tank. And we bought 2 different types of tank connector because we weren't sure which one we wanted to use, because our tank is quite shallow. So if we got one of these ones, which would go on the side, we thought actually there's not that much depth for it, so that usable space at the top of the tank is kind of reduced. So we think we're going to go with this one instead, which is right angle, and doing that means we can put it actually on the top face here, and just means we can use the whole volume of the tank for the actual wastewater and not have it starting to back up the pipe. So we're going to do that, I think. And then we've got to drill another one for the drainage tap, which is the campervan 28.5mm stuff. And then the last hole we've got to do is, and knock the T over, is for the level sensor. And we want this to be fairly central so that if we're parked on a slope, it's going to give fairly accurate reading. If we put it on one side or on a slope, it's going to obviously be massively off. So we think probably somewhere around there. So we forgot we need a small hole on the top as well as a vent hole, so that when wastewater is going in, the air has somewhere to come out, so it actually fills up properly and also it will drain. There you go. Some pull-ups on for that.
That's pretty strong. Nice.
Alright, what's next?
I don't know. I want to just lie here for a while. Oh, it's really sunny today.
It's comfortable for you to lie there.
Yeah, not for you.
Not for me. I literally don't really fit under this side because of the slope we're parked on. Very uncomfortable. I'm going out. We've been using this opportunity to lay out our waste plumbing on the ground in the sunshine, which is good.
Yep.
Trying to figure out how it's all going to go together. I think we're pretty much there.
Yep.
So what we've got is coming down through the floor in the kitchen, in the cabinet through the floor, is a piece of 32mm push fit waste pipe. And what we want to do under the van is step it all up to 40mm, so it's nice and large and flows quickly into the into the grey tank. So what we've got is the 32mm going into a 40mm reducer, but we're using it the other way around, so in a larger, and that's going to drop straight into a 40mm push fit right angle, like that. And then another bit of pipe, and then we've got this one, which is quite useful. This is called a FlexCon 4, which just attaches to the 40mm pipe on each side. And the cool thing about this one is you can enlarge it and shrink it and twist it around any which way you want. And the reason we've done that is because then after that we've got another little bit of pipe, and then this one we're putting in, which is an inline filter mesh thing. And we thought we'd put that one in so that if there's any food bits that go down into the sink, they won't make their way all the way into the tank, so we can keep the tank nice and clean. And also if we drop anything accidentally down the sink, it will only get as far as here. So we've got this one flexible so that we can easily detach it, take this out, give it a clean and remove anything we need to. We'll see how well that goes, because it might be really annoying if it gets blocked up all the time. So if it is a problem, we can just take it out and just connect that straight onto there, but I think it'll be pretty good actually. Then we've got our shower recirculating tank, which is also in the kitchen cupboard, which needs to drain periodically into the waste tank when we refill it. And that one was a bit confusing as well, because it comes through the floor with a 13mm or 10mm inside diameter tube, basically hose, and we had to figure out a way to get from that to this giant 40mm pipe, which was a bit tricky. And what we came up with was these little things, which are like washing machine adapters, I think.
Yeah.
So that takes the hose on one side, and then it has a 3/4 inch BSP nut on the other side, and then we've got this random one. I think it's for overflow and stuff, but we're going to cut this bit off, and then that bit on there is a 3/4 inch BSP thread, so we can screw that straight onto there, and that is just 40mm push fit on the other side. And that will just go in there, fire another bit of pipe to a T into here. Ignore this is just something else for our toilet we're going to do later on. And then we've got the shower, and that's going to connect up to the flexible tube again, then a bit of pipe, then the T, and then into the waste that goes all the way to the tank. And there will be bits of extra plumbing here for our recirculating shower that's obviously going to take that water and then put it back into the van to filter it, but we're going to do that later on. So for now we're just going to connect this straight up to the drain, and yeah, that is pretty much it. Then it all ends up in the tank and we can drain it with the tap on the end.
Yeah. Took quite a bit of research for that, didn't it? But
so much. Been like dreaming about plumbing connections. It's ridiculous.
yeah, I can't wait till this is over. Come on in.
So we're going to get the level sensor into the tank now, and the way that works is it's got a little float on it, and as the water level rises, this moves up and down there, and the resistance changes as it goes up and down, which you can see on the gauge. So one thing that's pretty cool is we can actually test it out with the multimeter to see all the different steps it's got. So if I put this onto resistance, onto ohms, and then we can literally just hook up these cables on here, and then you can see if I have the float all the way at the bottom, this shows 0 ohms, and then if I move it up, you can see about there, so it switches to 50, and then up again to 90, 130, 160-ish, and 190. So it's got, what's that, 5 or 6 positions? And so as that's going up and down, every time it gets to one of those next positions, it changes the resistance, and then these gauges correspond to that. So this goes from 0 at the bottom ohms to 190 at the top, and this gauge is, you have to get one that's the same scale, so this one is also 0 at the bottom and 190 at the top. And actually we've got two, got the white one and the black one, so we're going to put this in the grey tank, so that goes with that. And then we've got a much bigger one, which we thought we'd put one in our fresh tank so we can keep an eye on that. So this one is also 0 ohms at the bottom, but as I go up it's got a lot more positions before it gets to the 190 at the top. You see it changing all the numbers there, which is pretty cool. I think I counted that it's got 21 different positions on that one, so that's 21 different positions for that arrow on there, so it's actually going to be pretty accurate on the fresh one, and even the grey one has like 5 or 6, so it's pretty much every line we've got on there. So we didn't want to put one of the sensors in that just tells you it gets to a certain level, we wanted to be able to see what it is at all stages of its life cycle, what's the word? At all stages of as it fills up and drains out. So yeah, it's a pretty cool piece of kit. Jackson, what are you doing in there? How did you even get in there?
Okay, so this one will just slot in there like that. And with level sensors, it's important to get one that's just slightly shallower than the depth of your tank. And the reason for that is when you're driving down the road, any vibrations or anything like that, if you get one that's touching the bottom, can damage either the sensor or your tank. Yeah, we're just going to pop that in there. And it's got a little rubber washer under there as well. And now we just need to drill these holes, and then we'll just screw it down with these. So we've just put some insulation on just because obviously it's going to be underneath the van, and if we're travelling to anywhere cold, we just thought it might help to slow down the freezing process if it's particularly cold of any water inside. Yeah.
Only you could give a helping hand or a helping paw. Bye.
There we go. So we've just added a couple of straps at either end as well, just to avoid it from sliding side to side that way as well. And these straps here, we've just looped them back over themselves, just allowed for a little bit of extra length there, in case we want to get a bigger tank in the future. We can use the same straps. So we need to drill a hole in the floor of our van to get the wire from the level sensor up, and we actually need to drill a hole as well for the vent for our toilet, which we're going to install in the future. So we just thought we may as well put them all through the same hole. So we're going to use some 40mm waste pipe, which is what the vent is for the toilet anyway. And we just found the best spot that we can drill this hole, which is going to be inside our bench seat. And we found that that's really the only place that's going to work. So drill that hole and then get it done.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. We might just want to come a tiny bit further in this way, but yeah, otherwise, I think that worked pretty well.
I just said to Tim, I hope that this is my last time of drilling a huge hole into the van, because the only one left after this is for the oven, which you can do, alright?
Okay.
I don't really enjoy doing this.
Yeah, looks perfect. Okay, this is the awkward part. It's definitely enough for arm workout.
Okay, that's right. A little bit of a U-bend going on there.
Yeah, there we go.
Nice.
Sweet.
Good result, isn't it?
Got a new connector. I think we've done our fair share of plumbing now.
It's ridiculous. I've got to move along now. Making my way down.
There we go.
Right.
That is all the waste stuff connected.
Nice.
So we've done a bit of tidying up under here now. We've also put a flexible one right at the end where the tank is. And then coming up here, we've just cable tied everything to the van chassis using all of the holes that are already there.
So this is what we've come up with for the waste outlet, and we've just used some corrugated flexible tubing, and then here we've just put together a couple of brackets so that we can bolt it onto the metal sill on the van there. So yeah, it works quite well, and we did a little mock-up a minute ago.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be really awkward to mount that.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's probably like the easiest part of the whole thing, which we weren't expecting, were we?
And that one can just slot in there. Each of the gauges has this little plug that goes into the back that's got 5 wires coming out, and that is the positive, the negative, and then for some reason the black is actually the signal, so that goes to the sensor. And then there's 2 optional ones for a backlight. And then yeah, we've got the wires coming from the sensor on the grey tank, and then we've also done the same for the wires that are coming through from the fresh tank, and then just hooked it all up with Wagos, which are these little 3 connectors, which is quite handy. And then finally just put a switch on it, because even though these are really low power consumption, they do use a tiny bit of power, so we thought put a switch on it so we can turn them off. So should be ready to actually try it out. So that should just plug in there like that. There's no water in either of the tanks at the moment, so yeah, we'll see what happens. Oh, and they've both just kind of positioned themselves up towards empty.
Okay.
Looks like. Yeah. So you can choose to have it like this with no backlight, or if you want, you can have either a red or a yellow backlight. And we've got a spare slot in this Wago here. So with a yellow backlight, looks like that. And then if you switch it out to the orange wire, then it's a red backlight.
Okay.
Abby doesn't really want a red or a yellow light, so what we're going to do is just leave that off. Okay, so now all we need to do is fill up the tank. Hopefully it'll go up. See what happens.
Awesome.
Pretty happy with that, it's really nice and accurate.
Yep. Just got to test the wax one now.
Yeah. Okay, the sink and the shower are on full now.
Okay.
It looks like the grey one isn't really registering anything at the moment. Also got a little drip coming out of the drain tap, which I need to fix as well.
Okay.
So there's definitely water going to the tank at least.
Yeah.
So why isn't the sensor working?
No.
So we've checked the connections under the van and they look good. Checked everything here with a multimeter and it looks good. So wondering if maybe it just hasn't got enough water in it to register. Because the level sensor has a small gap at the bottom of the tank, obviously doesn't start to register until enough water has covered the base first. So maybe that's all we need to wait for. Oh, there we go. Just under 3/4. It's gone up a little bit. Cool, so that's showing full now, and this one is showing pretty much halfway. And that makes sense because this is an 85 litre tank, so halfway is roughly 42 and a half litres, and this one's a 45 litre tank, so about half of our fresh going into our grey should fill it up. Now we're going to see if we can actually drain it. Bit more. Keep going. Stop. Oh, that's pretty good. So it's showing empty now. How much water has still come out?
We've got a fast flow.
So this is the bit that's now below the sensor in the tank.
It's slowing down now. Oops. Okay, so instead of the pipe we were using, we forgot we had these reducer pieces. It's a 28 to 26 connector reducer. So hopefully with the rubber bung and a Jubilee clip, it should all be leak free now. So let's try it. Ow. It wasn't so windy.
Possibly the pipe is a little bit too long now, is it?
Yeah, a little bit. Ow. Okay. Okay, so we've just run the shower for a little while and the tap into the sink, and it's not dripping anywhere, so I think that means it's all right. So yeah,
Looks a lot better.
we're working properly now, so excellent.
I think that went pretty good, right?
Yeah, good result.
Yeah. And I do like these little gauges. We just got to figure out where to actually put them now.
Yeah,
So, yeah, maybe somewhere around there.
something like that with all of our other switches and stuff, maybe.
And tidying up all of these wires
Yeah.
at some point.
We'll do that another time. So yeah, I think we're going to leave it there for this project. Yeah, nice and satisfying to get that done, isn't it?
Yeah, that means we can actually have a shower now.
It does, doesn't it?
Not recirculating yet,
Yeah.
but that will be coming soon as well.
Yeah, but I think what we're going to do next is get on with our bench seats, just because we need somewhere to sit down that isn't our wheel arch boxes.
Would
So
be good.
we'll see you in the next one.
See you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.